Here's part 1 of the story in about 800 words written in simple English with third-person style. Human stands alone to care for abandoned alien orphans. The alarm blared through Sergeant Minji's small quarters on Outpost Zeta-7, jolting her from awe. Sleep. Her communication device flashed with an urgent message. Unknown vessel detected in Sector 4, drifting without power. As head of security for the night shift, this was her problem to solve. Just once I'd like to sleep through a full cycle, she muttered, pulling on her uniform. The station's artificial day-night cycles never quite matched her natural rhythm, leaving her perpetually tired. 15 minutes later, Minji piloted her patrol craft toward the mysterious vessel. It was small, roughly the size of a cargo shuttle, with an unfamiliar design that didn't match any ships in the station's database. "Control, I'm approaching the unknown vessel. No signs of damage or distress signals," she reported, circling the silent ship. "Proceed with caution, Sergeant. Scans show minimal power signatures but no life support systems running. Could be abandoned," replied Officer Sunho from the command center. Minji docked carefully with the vessel and checked her oxygen levels before opening the airlock. The ship's interior was dark, illuminated only by her helmet lights. Strange symbols covered the walls, definitely not human design. "I'm seeing markings consistent with Valti technology," she reported, recognizing the angular script from briefings. The Valti were a reclusive, highly advanced species known for their distrust of other civilizations. What was their ship doing here, over 50 light-years from their territory? Minji moved cautiously through narrow corridors, scanning for any signs of life. The ship's systems were completely shut down, emergency power maintaining only minimal gravity and traces of heat. As she approached what appeared to be the main cabin, she noticed something odd. Small personal items scattered across the floor, as if someone had left in a hurry. "Control. Ship appears abandoned but recently occupied. I'm continuing to the cargo hold." The cargo hold door was sealed with an emergency lock that her universal tool struggled to override. When it finally slid open, Minji's light swept across the space, revealing 5 pairs of large reflective eyes staring back at her. "Stars above," she whispered, lowering her weapon. 5 small figures huddled together in a corner. Their skin had a faint bluish glow, with delicate patterns that shifted like moving water. They were unmistakably Valti children. "Control, I've found 5 juvenile Valti. Repeat, 5 Valti children. No adults present," she reported, her voice steady despite her shock. The smallest one made a chirping sound, clearly distressed. Minji removed her helmet slowly, showing her face to appear less threatening. "It's okay," she said softly, though she knew they couldn't understand her. "I'm not going to hurt you." The oldest child, still barely reaching Minji's waist, stepped forward protectively. It held up a small device that projected images. A larger Valti, presumably an adult, making urgent gestures before the image cut out. "Control requesting immediate medical team. And someone who knows anything about Valti physiology," Minji said. "Negative, Sergeant," came Director Hoon's stern voice, overriding Officer Sunho. "The Valti government has strict protocols about their citizens. No contact is authorized without diplomatic clearance. Seal the vessel and return to base immediately." Minji watched as the smallest child shivered visibly. Their environmental suits were clearly malfunctioning, designed for short-term use only. "Sir, with respect, these are children without life support. They need immediate assistance." "That's an order, Sergeant. The diplomatic implications of interfering with Valti citizens are beyond your concern. We'll contact their government through proper channels." Minji looked at the 5 frightened faces. The oldest one seemed to understand something was wrong. It reached out one 6-fingered hand toward her, making a sound like rushing water. "Sir, proper channels could take days. These children might not survive that long. Your concerns are noted. Return to base now." Minji switched off her communicator. Rules and diplomatic protocols weren't written for situations like this. She knelt down to eye level with the children and smiled, making a universal gesture of offering help. "My name is Minji," she said slowly, pointing to herself. "I'm going to help you." The oldest child hesitated, then placed its hand in hers. Its skin felt cool and slightly damp, with a texture like fine silk. 2 hours later, when Officer Sunho entered Minji's quarters with orders from Director Hoon, he found her sitting on the floor surrounded by 5 alien children. The smallest, one was sleeping peacefully in her lap. "The director is furious," Sunho said quietly. Minji nodded, gently stroking the infant's luminescent skin. "I know. This could start an interstellar incident." "Maybe," she agreed. "But they're just children, Sunho. Whatever political mess this causes, I'll handle it. I couldn't leave them there." As Sunho left, Minji looked at the 5 orphans now in her care and wondered what chain of events had brought them here, and what storm would follow her decision to protect them. The alarm clock by Minji's bed beeped softly, marking 3 days since she had brought the Valti children to her quarters. She opened her eyes to find Tel, the oldest child, hovering nearby, his iridescent skin pulsing with shifting blue patterns. He held out a small device, making urgent chirping sounds. "I still don't understand," Minji said gently, sitting up on her sleeping mat. She had given her bed to the children, who slept curled together like a pile of glowing cats. The station's systems chimed. "Sergeant Minji, report to Director Doyen's office immediately," came the cold voice of the station's second-in-command. Minji sighed. This would be the 3rd meeting about her unauthorized rescue operation. She checked on the other children. Rovi and Suri were examining her collection of earth plants with fascination, while little Lilo played with light reflections on the wall. But Nima lay curled in the corner, her skin patterns dim and sluggish. "I'll be back soon," Minji told Tel, miming her return. He nodded, seeming to understand. Director Doyen's office was spotless, like everything about him. His uniform had perfect creases and not a single gray hair was out of place. "The Valti government has responded," he said without greeting. "They demand the immediate return of their subjects." "They're children, not subjects," Minji replied. "And they're sick, especially the small one, Nima." Doyun's face hardened. "They claim these children belong to scientists who stole valuable research. The parents are already in custody." "In custody or dead?" Minji asked quietly. Doyun looked away. "That's not our concern. The Valti have threatened to cut all trade agreements with human colonies if we don't return them within 5 days. "I need more time," Minji insisted. "Nima is getting worse. Our medical team doesn't understand their biology." "You have until tomorrow," Doyen said. "Then I'm sending them back, with or without your cooperation." When Minji returned to her quarters, she found Dr. Jiwoo, the station's youngest medical officer, scanning Nima with portable equipment. "I came as soon as I could," Jiwoo whispered. "You said it was urgent." "Thank you," Minji said, surprised. Most of the station staff had been avoiding her since she'd broken protocol. "Her body temperature is dropping," Jiwoo explained, showing Minji the readings. "I think their species regulates heat differently than humans. They might need more light." "Light?" "I've been studying the few files we have on Valti physiology. They absorb energy through their skin directly from their sun. Our station lighting might be too weak for them." The revelation hit Minji like a wave. No wonder they were struggling. They were starving. Within hours, Minji had transformed her quarters. She borrowed growth lamps from the hydroponics bay and set them up around her living space. The children's reaction was immediate. Their skin began pulsing with brighter patterns, and Nima stirred for the first time in days. "You're a genius," Minji told Jiwoo, as they watched the children bask in the new light. "I'm surprised no one thought of it sooner," Jiwoo admitted. "But then again, most people aren't looking at them as children who need help, just as diplomatic problems." A soft chime at the door interrupted them. Officer Sunho entered, looking uncomfortable. "The Valti delegation has arrived early," he said. "The director wants you to bring the children to Docking Bay 7 immediately." "They're still recovering," Minji protested. "Nima can barely move." "Those are the orders," Sunho said, but his eyes showed sympathy. Tail seemed to sense the tension. He approached Minji, holding out the small device again. This time, he activated it. A holographic image appeared. Valti adults in uniform dragging away others who were clearly scientists. The children's parents. They're showing us what happened, Jiwoo whispered. They're not orphans. They were hidden away by their parents. To protect them. Minji knelt before Tael. Who are the people coming for you, friends or enemies? Tael's skin flashed deep red, a color Minji had not seen before. He pointed to the uniformed figures in the hologram, then drew a finger across his throat in a universal gesture. They're afraid, Minji said, standing up. And for good reason. What are you going to do? Sunho asked. The director gave direct orders. Minji looked at the 5 children, their skin now glowing healthily under the lights. Nima had even begun to play with Lilo again. What I should have done from the beginning, Minji said. Ask for help. She activated her communication device. Attention all Outpost Zeta 7 personnel. This is Sergeant Minji. I need your help. Within minutes, her quarters were flooded with messages. The hydroponics team, the engineering crew, even some of the diplomatic staff, all offering assistance. It seemed Minji wasn't the only one who saw past politics to the 5 frightened children caught in the middle. As she prepared to face Director Doyen and the Valti delegation, Minji felt something she hadn't felt since finding the children. Hope. Whatever happened next, she wasn't standing alone anymore. The grand hall of the Outpost Zeta 7 Diplomatic Center gleamed with polished surfaces and bright lights. 3 tall Valti officials stood rigidly on one side of the long table. Their skin shimmered with complex patterns of deep purple, a color Minji now recognized as indicating authority among their kind. Director Doyen sat opposite them, his face, a mask of professional calm. Minji entered last, standing at attention despite her exhaustion. 4 days without proper sleep had left dark circles under her eyes. Where are the subjects? Demanded the lead Valti, his translator device converting his liquid sounds into flat, emotionless words. The children are receiving medical care, Minji replied carefully. The Valti's skin flashed angrily. They are government property, the offspring of criminals. Director Doyen cleared his throat. Sergeant Minji's actions, while well-intentioned, were unauthorized. We have prepared transfer documents. I'd like to see proof. Minji interrupted, ignoring Doyen's glare. The lead Valti turned toward her. Proof of what, human? Proof that you have legal custody of these children. Documentation of their parents' crimes. Evidence they can safely travel in their current condition. The Valti's skin patterns shifted rapidly. Minji had learned from Tael this indicated surprise or confusion. Their internal biology is still stabilizing to our environment, she continued. Moving them now could cause permanent harm. You presume to understand Valti physiology better than we do? The official asked coldly. No, Minji replied. But I understand these specific children. Nima's energy absorption rate is only at 60%. Lilo still can't regulate body temperature without assistance. The Valti officials exchanged glances, their skin patterns dancing with rapid communication. Minji caught it, the flash of doubt. They hadn't expected details. They hadn't expected her to actually care for the children properly. This is irrelevant, the lead Valti said finally. Transfer will happen today. Prepare them. As Minji opened her mouth to argue further, the station's emergency alarm blared. Dr. Jiwoo's voice came through her communicator. Minji, Nima's collapsed. Her system is shutting down. Without asking permission, Minji sprinted from the diplomatic center. The Valti officials followed, their long limbs easily keeping pace. When they reached Minji's quarters, they found chaos. Nima lay on the bed, her once bright skin now dull gray. Tael and the other children surrounded her, making distressed sounds. Dr. Jiwoo worked frantically with her medical scanner. Her energy absorption has completely failed, Jiwoo explained. It's like her cells have forgotten how to process light. Bijad, lead Valti pushed forward. This is why untrained humans should not interfere with our kind. Stand aside. But Tael blocked his path, making angry chirping sounds. He pointed to the officials, then to Nima, and made a cutting motion with his hand. He thinks you caused this, Minji translated. What exactly did you do to their parents? The Valti official's skin darkened. The parents were executed for treason. These children carry genetic modifications, illegal experiments. That is why the small one fails. The modifications are unstable. Minji's mind raced. Dr. Jiwoo, what? If we try a direct energy transfer? Like a transfusion but with light? That's not in any medical protocol I know, Jiwoo said doubtfully. Because no one's tried it, Minji replied. She turned to the Valti officials. Your people absorb energy through your skin, then convert it internally, correct? What if Nima's conversion process is damaged? The officials remained silent, but their skin patterns betrayed interest. Minji didn't wait for permission. She turned to Engineer Hana, who had been helping with the children's care. Can you modify one of the growth lamps to produce concentrated light at exactly the frequency of healthy Valti skin? Give me 10 minutes, Hana replied, already opening her toolkit. The lead Valti stepped forward. This is unauthorized medical experimentation. This is saving a child's life, Minji countered, something your government seems uninterested in doing. While the officials watched with obvious skepticism, Minji, Jiwoo, and Hana worked together, creating a device that could bypass Nima's damaged energy conversion system. They calibrated it to match the exact frequency of Tail's healthy skin patterns. It's ready, Hana said finally, holding up a modified lamp attached to delicate probes. This will fail, the lead Valti stated flatly. And when it does, you will surrender all 5 subjects immediately. Minji placed the probes gently on Nima's dull skin. I don't think like you do, she said quietly. I'm not calculating political advantage. I'm just trying to save a child. She activated the device. For several tense moments nothing happened. Then slowly a faint glow began to spread from the probes across Nima's skin. The patterns started to move again, weakly at first, then with growing strength. Nima's eyes opened. She made a soft chirping sound. The Valti officials stared in obvious shock, their skin patterns chaotic with disbelief. Impossible, whispered the lead official. Our best scientists couldn't stabilize the modifications. Tail moved to Minji's side, placing his small hand in hers. He looked up at the officials and made a series of complex sounds. I think, Minji said with a small smile. He's telling you that sometimes the simple human approach works better than advanced technology. For the first time, the Valti officials looked at Minji not with disdain, but with something approaching respect. News of Minji's unusual success with the Valti children spread quickly across the station. Within days it reached beyond Outpost Zeta 7 to other human installations, and soon after, to the Galactic Council itself. The simple procedure that saved Nima's life had implications far beyond one child's survival. Minji sat in the station's observation deck, watching the stars with Tael beside her. The young Valti had become her shadow, always nearby, always watching and learning. He now wore a modified translator around his neck, allowing basic communication. Message for Sergeant. Minji, announced the station's system. Priority transmission from Earth Central Command. Minji straightened her uniform. Accept transmission. The stern face of Admiral Junho appeared on the screen. Sergeant, your actions have created quite a stir. The Valti government has filed a formal complaint with the Galactic Council. The children are doing well, sir, thank you for asking, Minji replied evenly. A hint of a smile crossed the Admiral's face. I understand you refused to surrender them even after direct orders. I did what was necessary to protect 5 innocent lives, sir. That's precisely why I'm contacting you. The Council has called an emergency session. The Valti delegate is demanding sanctions against Earth for what they call theft of national assets. Tael chirped softly, picking up the tension. They're still calling them assets, not children, Minji said quietly. Yes, and that distinction may be our strongest. Defense. We need you and the children at the Council meeting. A transport will arrive tomorrow. After the Admiral's image faded, Minji turned to find Director Doyen standing in the doorway. Congratulations, he said coldly. You've managed to start an interstellar incident after all. The children deserve protection. And what about the protection of our colonies, our trade agreements, our standing in the Council? Doyen demanded. The Valti are threatening to cut all ties with humanity. Before Minji could answer, her communicator chimed with an incoming message. Dr. Jiwoo's excited voice came through. Minji, you need to see this immediately. In the medical bay, Jiwoo and engineer Hana stood over a complex holographic display. The 5 Valti children clustered nearby, watching with interest. We've been analyzing the data from Nima's treatment, Jiwoo explained. The technology in their skin isn't just for energy absorption. It's a storage system, possibly for information. Hana nodded enthusiastically. When we adjusted the light frequency, we accidentally accessed encoded data. Look. The hologram shifted to show molecular structures, spinning and connecting in complex patterns. What am I looking at? Minji asked. A completely new energy conversion system, Hana whispered. One that could solve fuel shortages across the galaxy. The parents weren't criminals, Jiwoo added. They were brilliant scientists working on technology the Valti government wanted to control exclusively. Tail touched the hologram, causing it to shift to new patterns. He made a series of sounds that his translator converted. Parents hide knowledge in us, safe until grown. The children are the backup, Minji realized. Their parents encoded their research into their children's genetic modifications. The implications were staggering. If the Valti government got hold of the children, they would control technology that could shift the balance of power across the galaxy. 2 days later, Minji stood before the Galactic Council, a massive chamber, where representatives from 27 spacefaring species debated interstellar law. The 5 Valti children stayed close to her side, visibly nervous in the grand space. The Valti delegate spoke first, his skin pattern showing righteous anger. These children are the property of our government. Their genetic modifications are classified technology. The human known as Minji has stolen valuable assets. The Earth representative, a seasoned diplomat named Kyung, responded calmly. Sergeant Minji rescued abandoned children whose lives were in danger. Their welfare was her only concern. Their welfare? Scoffed the Valti delegate. What does a primitive human know of Valti needs? Enough to save Nima's life when your officials were willing to let her die? Minji spoke up, ignoring protocol. Whispers spread through the council chamber. Several delegates leaned forward with interest. The issue at hand, continued the Valti delegate, is theft of proprietary technology. The issue, Minji countered, is whether living children can be considered property. A tall, crystalline being, the ancient Tellurian delegate, rose slowly. For centuries, the Valti have claimed their advanced technology makes them superior. Yet a human with limited resources saved a child they could not. Perhaps it is time we reconsidered our assumptions about primitive species. As debate erupted across the chamber, Minji felt a small tug on her sleeve. Tael pointed to the main doors, where a group of unfamiliar Valti had entered. Their skin patterns were similar to the children's. Scientists, not officials. Others like parents, Tael's translator conveyed. Friends, help. Minji smiled. The galaxy was watching now, and the Valti government was about to discover that claiming ownership of children, no matter how valuable their genetic code, would not stand against the simple human principle that all young deserved protection. 1 year had passed since the Galactic Council hearing. Minji stood in the central hall of the new Interspecies Education Center, watching children from 12 different worlds play together. The 5 Valti children, Tael, Rovi, Nima, Suri, and Lilo, moved confidently among them, their skin glowing, with healthy patterns. The center occupied an entire small moon, donated by the Tellurian government after the Council's historic decision. It had ruled that no sentient being, regardless of age or species, could be claimed as property. The Valti government had protested fiercely, but faced with growing opposition from other species, they eventually backed down. Thinking deep thoughts? Asked Kovu, a Tellurian engineer who had become one of Minji's closest friends. Just remembering how close we came to war, Minji replied. Over 5 children. Kovu's crystalline body shimmered in the light. Not just children, Their genetic code holds solutions to energy problems that have plagued the galaxy for centuries. That's what the Valti government saw. Valuable technology, Minji said. They couldn't see the children carrying it. Across the hall, Tal was showing a group of younger aliens how to operate a simple energy converter. At 12 years old, he had grown taller, his translator now programmed with his own voice patterns. Ambassador Minji? A young human assistant approached. The Valti scientific delegation has arrived for the conference. Minji nodded. Show them to the meeting room. I'll be there shortly. The group of Valti scientists waiting in the meeting room included 3 who had defected after the council hearing. They had revealed the true story of the children's parents, brilliant researchers who had discovered how to encode living data within genetic structures. When the government attempted to weaponize their work, they had hidden their most important discoveries in their children's modified DNA. The test results are promising, said Lona, the lead Valti scientist. Using the templates from Nima's cellular structure, we've developed energy systems 50% more efficient than current technology. And completely clean, added Dr. Jiwoo, who had left Outpost Zeta 7 to become the center's medical director. No waste products at all. How soon until we can implement them? Minji asked. That's why we're here, Lona replied. The Valti government has offered a compromise. They will allow the technology to be shared across the galaxy, in exchange for recognition as its developers. Even though they executed the actual developers, Minji's voice was sharp. Politics, Kovu rumbled, always complicated. The important thing, said Jiwoo gently, is that the technology will help billions of people. Isn't that what the children's parents wanted? Later that evening, Minji sat with the 5 Valti children in their shared living space. Though she had been promoted to ambassador, she had insisted on maintaining her role as their guardian. Will you accept the Valti government's offer? Tile asked. His command of human language had improved dramatically. I don't know, Minji admitted. It feels wrong to give them credit for work they tried to suppress. Our parents wanted the knowledge to help everyone, Rovi said quietly. That's more important than who gets the credit. Nima, now healthy and vibrant, nodded in agreement. The human way is to care about people first, yes? That's what you taught us. Minji looked at the 5 children she had risked everything to protect. They had grown so much, learned so much, not just about science and technology, but about compassion and forgiveness. Yes, she said. People first, always. The next day, Minji stood before representatives from 27 worlds and announced the agreement. The Valti government would receive recognition for the new energy technology, but the center would oversee its implementation, ensuring it reached all worlds equally. As applause filled the grand hall, Minji watched Tael translate for some younger aliens who couldn't understand the proceedings. He caught her eye and smiled, a human expression he had adopted. That night, as the children prepared for sleep, little Lilo, not so little anymore, asked a question that had clearly been on his mind for some time. Minji, why did you help us, when no one else would? You risked your job, your future, even your planet standing in the council. Minji considered her answer carefully. The truth was both simple and complex. Because that's the human way, she said finally. We see someone who needs help, especially a child, and everything else becomes secondary. Not all humans live up to this ideal, but at our best, that's who we are. Is that why other species are starting to listen to humans more? Suri asked. Because we care about things they often overlook? Minji smiled. Perhaps. The galaxy is full of brilliant minds and advanced technology, but sometimes it takes a simple human perspective to remember what truly matters. As the children drifted to sleep, their skin glowing softly in the darkened room, Minji reflected on how far they had all come. One impulsive decision to rescue 5 abandoned children had changed galactic politics, advanced technology, and challenged long-held assumptions about humanity's place among the stars. But most importantly, it had saved 5 lives that now shone with promise. The most human achievement of all.